Hi guys, this is Angel with Amani's Closet, and I want to thank you guys for stopping by. I want to make a tutorial right quick to show you how to make the rainbow tutu socks. It's not going to be right quick, but I just threw that in there. So my colors are red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. I have coordinating thread, coordinating bobbin, and of course your ribbon. You're going to need 1 yard of each of these colors, and this is 1.5 inch satin ribbon. I'll leave a link for you in the description. So you're also going to need 6 yards of the white tulle. You can use any color tulle that you like. I like to use the white tulle because it matches or blends in with the white socks that I send with these ruffle socks. So you'll need the white coordinating thread as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is make my casing for my elastic. I use 1/2 inch non-roll elastic for the casing. I always use non-roll because it fits more comfortably against the little girl's ankles. So here I am back stitching my casing and realizing, yeah, my machine isn't threaded. Yeah, so I take the time and rethread it. Okay, now that we've got the machine rethreaded, let's go ahead and try this again. So what I'm showing you here is that I'm folding the tulle. The tulle is cut 6 yards long. However, the width is only 6 inches. I'll show you here. Okay, so you got the 6 inches there. And so what you're going to do is you're going to fold it in half. And you're going to run a straight stitch right down that folded side, about a little bit over 1/2 inch from the crease. Because your casing, you want it just enough to put that 1/2 inch elastic in. And you're going to sew that straight stitch all the way down that 6 yards of tulle. Now what I'm doing here is just picking up the second pre-cut tool that I already have. That way it's nice to have it already pre-cut, that way you can just continuously go. So now I'll have one for the left and I'll have one for the right. Okay, now what I'm doing now is I am measuring out all the tulle to make sure that I have a total of 6 yards, because what I realized is that I had some extra tulle sitting aside, and so what I did is I just sewed the casing, that way I'm not wasting. So if you don't have 6 yards in one cut, it's perfectly fine to have 3 yards and 3 yards, 2 yards, 2 yards, 2 yards, however you need to cut it. This project is pretty giving. Just make sure that you have a total of 6 yards. And you'll see as I'm sewing here that I think at one point I may have a little bit less or a little bit more, but it's okay. So what I'm doing now is changing out my ribbon, changing out my thread. My original plan was to have coordinating threads and bobbin with each piece of ribbon, but as I got started I realized, and I started with the red, so I get my red thread and put my red bobbin on there, and I intended on changing everything out once I got to the orange. But I got in a groove and completely forgot to change it out. And the finished project looked even more better to me, if more better is a word, because the red contrasts on all the colors. So it was really pretty. Another thing that I did not do on this project that I showed in the last video, I did not glue the pieces together. The method I'm going to use here, I'm going to use it from now on. What I end up doing, I'll show you in a moment. So what I've done here is place the ribbon down, shiny side facing down, and I've placed the tulle on top of the ribbon. The casing is all the way over to the right. The two open ends of the tulle are what's placed on top of the ribbon. And now we're going to join the two and sew all the way down. Now what you're going to do here is backstitch just a little bit, and then you're going to take the next color and lay it right on top, shiny side down again, right on top of the red ribbon. And if you can't get it on top, it's perfectly fine to slide it underneath. It really doesn't matter, on top or underneath. And what you may want to do is lift your presser foot up with your needle down, if that helps. Make sure you backstitch where the two are connected, the red and the orange, and keep on going. Now what you're going to do is the exact same thing that you did before. Now what I found that helps a lot is to leave about 1/4 of an inch and then join the two together. It was at this point that I realized I didn't change the threads out. I was supposed to change the threads out as I changed the ribbon colors. And then I decided, do I want to take all this out or do I want to keep going? I'm like, no, that red looks really pretty against that orange. It's going to look even more pretty against the yellow. So I just decided to keep on going. At this point, I'm checking to make sure that everything is attached. One down and one more to go. It's at this point where I want to show you where I have more ribbon than I do tulle. And so as you see here, I get to the point where I'm at the end of the tulle, but I still have quite a bit more ribbon there. So what I'm going to do is take another piece of tulle. I always keep this empty bucket underneath me that catches everything. It's my catch-all bucket so that nothing's on the floor. And so that one's a little bit too long, so I try to find a shorter piece. And the casing's measurements are all the same, so I'm just gonna put that open casing right up to the other open casing on the right, and then just stitch on top of that tulle, back stitch a little bit to make sure it doesn't come off, and then continue on down. Now at this point, I'm going to show you what needs to be done. You're going to go ahead and take the ribbon out and go ahead and cut that excess tulle. Now what you have to do, and make sure you do not skip this part, is you need to change out your thread after you snip your excess tulle off. You're going to change your thread back out to the white, and you're going to back stitch that casing, because since you cut the original back stitch out. So here I'm showing you, you need to change out your bobbin, change out your thread to the white, because you want to make sure that you back stitch. If you do not back stitch, all that thread is going to come undone. Now let me mention, you only have to do this step if you pieced pieces together. If you have the original 6 yards that matches perfectly against your 6 yards of ribbon, you don't have to worry about this step here. Okay, now it's time for us to grab our elastic. We have our 1/2 inch non-roll elastic, and I believe I got this at Walmart for less than $1. I'll leave the measurements down in the description, because it all depends on what size you're making. If you're making for infant, if you're making for toddler, youth, or teen adult. Now I have my 2 big safety pins that I'm going to attach to both ends of the elastic. One is going to be used to thread through the casing. The other is going to be used so that it does not come all the way through the casing. So I'm measuring again and getting ready to thread it through. Now one of the things that I like to do so that I make sure that my elastic does not get turned on me, I take a marker and I mark on both sides. That way, after I'm done threading it through, I know that those lines will lay right on top of each other, just like this. And now it's time to thread the elastic through the casing. I've got a good start here, and I'm sliding the tulle down towards the end, and I'm going to continue to feed it all the way through. As you start to feed it through, you start to see the ruffles forming, and then that's when you start getting excited because you notice that your project is coming together. As I'm feeding it through, I'm also taking the time to look at any imperfections, any threads that I have left from joining the tulle together. Like I said, I didn't continuously use 6 yards, so I'm taking the time to trim anything up that doesn't look too great as I'm going. At this point, we take the 2 ends where your pins are and kind of stretch them out, kind of fluff your ribbons, admire your work, see if there are any spots where the white tulle has come past the ribbon, and if so, you're going to trim it. But yeah, this is where you take the one pin out and connect them together, and you're going to take it over to the sewing machine and lap them over and sew your elastic together. Yeah, at this point you have your tutu sock, and you get to really admire your work. So take it over to your machine, lap your elastic over, and go ahead and close that elastic. I do a zigzag stitch on one side, flip it over, and do the zigzag stitch on another. Not only do I do a zigzag stitch, I also widen my length on my zigzag stitch. After doing your zigzag stitch, make sure you trim those threads off the elastic, front and back. And then you're going to give your tutu a nice fluff. And you're going to manipulate those ruffles and evenly distribute them. You're going to manipulate your tulle and space it out and make sure you cover that place where you have joined the elastic. The very last step that you're going to do is you're going to take those two ends right there and you're going to change out your thread back to the red and you're going to stitch those together. That's something that I did not do on the other because I used glue. But yeah, this gives it a more professional, more polished look, and it just seems like one endless seam. At this point here, I noticed that the purple ribbon was not sealed, so I grabbed my little lighter and sealed it because we do not want that to fray. Once you have that sewn together, make sure you trim those threads. And one of the things that I love to do is give it a little shake, and then I actually go through and manipulate every single ruffle so that it forms to how I want it to form. And I'll let this play out and let you see how I do this. So I hope you can see taking that little bit of extra time and fluffing those ruffles out, forming them how you want to, actually makes those socks stand out even more. I absolutely love how these socks turned out. I actually ended up making 2 pairs for a birthday outfit, and they are just gorgeous. I love the vibrant colors. I love how they are just so full. Let me grab a sock and insert the sock and let you see how they look. Now, aren't these just the cutest socks you've ever seen? The wonderful thing about these is if the little girl gets these socks dirty, you just take the socks out, throw them in the doggone washing machine, and spot clean your ruffles. Aren't those so cute? Alright guys, I hope you really enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know if you have any questions. Subscribe, like the video, hit the notifications. Can't wait to see you guys for the next video. And if you don't want to make your socks, just come on over to www.amaniscloset.com and pick you up some socks. Bye!